Well, I want to say good evening to you, Mr. James Mbele, new author and global, I would say, force to be reckoned with. You are a force multiplier, global speaker. You've been on platforms all over the world. Really privileged to get a chance to, and honored to have a chance just to find a few minutes to get in your busy schedule and to interview you and to just give an opportunity here just to get to know you a little better and maybe introduce you to some individuals that don't know you yet. And that's what this is about right now, is just to have this interview time together and kind of go over the fact you've just become a brand new author, and we want to talk about that. But first of all, I just want you to get a chance to introduce yourself and tell everybody, what you do and a little bit of backdrop of where you are and how you got here.
Thank you very much, Steve. My name is James Mbele, born and brought up in a village called Uvaini in Machakos County, which is in the eastern part of Kenya. Kenya is a part of Africa, in the African continent. This is where I grew up as a young boy, where I looked after cattle until my time to go to school came, and we had it very rough because we didn't have a lot of income. Our parents did not have much, but we went the hard way. We went to school. Schooling was not that easy, but we did it. Sometimes chased from school, sometimes we are back, and we went on until we came to the end of schooling. And then I moved into a marketing career, which is what I always wanted. As a young man, I always wanted to be a salesperson. I wanted to be in a field where I do not have control of, people in an office where I would be locked up and then opened in the evening to go home. No, I did not want that. I wanted freedom so that I can get out there and meet people, different people, talk to people and solicit for orders and all that, which actually I did. And in the process of that, I came across the Chartered Institute of Marketing, which offered me a chance, and within a period of 2.5 years, I cleared to become a chartered marketer.
Okay, chartered marketer. Okay, absolutely. So I just wanted to go through and show some of the things about your recent release of your book and talk about some of that kind of stuff. As a chartered marketer, you've been and presented on platforms in how many countries around the world now?
I have, since getting into marketing, initially I was in employment, of course, and I did employment for quite some time. Sure. I actually did almost close to over 20 years in employment, and it wasn't very easy because, the kind of monies, finances you get as an employee. It never gave me an opportunity to do what I was looking for in life. I really needed a lot of freedom, freedom of time, because I wanted to have my own time so that I can really tour the world. I've always wanted, and I really wanted to tour the world. And this wouldn't have happened as an employee. So I was locked up completely, just making some little monies as an employee. But a time came in 2012 when I came across somebody who looked at me and said, Mbele, I think you're so good in talking to people, and you can do better when you do business where it involves talking to people and showing them on how to leverage on other people, and then you show them on how to leverage on others, and others, that is creating a team. And I was told that the team, which is the word TEAM, stands for Together Everyone Achieves More.
I love it.
I looked at it, and then I was taken to this presentation my first time. And I was told that if you came in and you had 5 people who you told exactly to be like yourself, and that is coach them on how to read books on personal development, which is what helped me.
Yes.
Then it would be like myself, and that is creating more leaders working with me. And then those leaders, I will show them how to work with others, and that would mean creating a big number of people who are independent, not waiting for directions to do what would make their lives better. And that is exactly what I followed. And within a short period, actually within a period of 4 or 5 months, I qualified with all what was required by my first company when I came into the business of leveraging on people and showing them how to leverage on others. That is network marketing. And I was there flying different countries within a very short period. And then I was looking at myself and I was saying, my God, this opportunity has been lying there waiting for me. How many other people are really missing this opportunity because they've never come across somebody who can show them what I was shown, and I took it. I became very coachable. And the thing told by those who brought me into this was that if you do what other successful people did to get to where they got to, you would definitely get to where they are. What was the secret? I was told there's a certain set number of books which you will need to go through, and there is no shortcut in accessing knowledge. You must read. And I accepted. I was given quite a number of books. I will not mention them because there are many. I was given 17, but I dwelled on 4. And I was also given a lot of top motivational speakers, and I was told that, Mbele, you must listen to these people every day so that at least you can get to understand what to tell people out there. And I did it. Within a period of 2.5 years, I traveled so many countries, and I was in a position to change locations, from middle class neighborhoods to other upper class neighborhoods, where you'd be, of course, brushing shoulders with who is who within your country. That happened within a very short period. Then I started asking myself, if this has happened in such a short period, what if I gather this material and I put it together in writing and tell people, this is what I did. You all have seen me coming from, of course, where I really had issues with school fees for my kids. It was a big issue when I was in employment. But when I came into the business of leveraging on people and showing them how to leverage on others, within a period of 3-4 months, I didn't have any financial difficulty in terms of taking care of my kids and taking care of myself, changing my cars, going to showroom and getting new ones. So I said, what I did is what I would wish one day to put in writing so that I can help a lot of other people to access the knowledge I have and then change their lifestyles as well. And that is how I started talking about. If you check on everybody who has been in my audience when I'm giving speeches, I always finish it by saying, I must one day write books to help humanity.
And so you actually brought this, manifested this reality by having this as a goal, speaking to other people about it, and having it as a clear idea in your mind that at some future point, that not only were you going to be an individual that had changed your destiny, but you were going to leave the actual, what would you call it, the formula, like you're talking about right now, but you wanted to put it in the version of a book so that you could leave that to other individuals and distribute it. So basically, you've created as an author, now that you've become one, which congratulations, I wanted to say congratulations for becoming a new author.
Thank you so much.
I know, look at it. Look at the happiness there. It is extraordinary, right? I mean, you have created a milestone in your life. You saw it years back. You told people about it. And all of this personal development now that you have read in other people, now you have a book. So show me your book. Show me your book right now. Look at that. That is extraordinary. Okay. I love the jacket. I love the jacket too, by the way. I've got to have to get me a jacket just like that, but I don't think I would look as good as you do in it. That is a great, great jacket. Awesome. Okay. Tell me about it. What did it feel like when you became an author? And I actually I can do a couple things here. Let me share my screen just a second. And there we go. You see your book?
It's not yet. Okay, yes, sure.
Okay, there it is. I just wanted to bring it up closer because I see the one that you have there, but there's the actual book itself. Looking great. Love the jacket. And what happened the first time? Let's see if I can get this to, there it is. What happened the first time when you opened up and you saw that your book was published? What did that feel like?
To be very honest, when I found out and I looked at what I was forwarded by the publishers that my book was published and then it was appearing in Amazon, I said, my God, this is something I've always thought would be the biggest dream ever in the world.
Right. And the thing is, think about when that was the ultimate milestone. You, on a development scale, were back a couple years, right? And you had started traveling. You were telling people about your story and how to change your future, how to affect your destiny. And so you're telling these individuals you're on a platform, you're being a leader, and then you showed them and shared with them, the next thing I need to do now is to become an author. So you actually place that. And now, as time moved along, you have achieved your own goals. So you are once again being a leader's leader, showing people how to set these incredible milestones. And now you, with this incredible smile on your face, have become the version in the past that you thought was your best version. You're here now. So now you're able to say, now I've done it. And you said the other day you were just teaching at a university. Tell us about that. What were you teaching these individuals there at the university?
Yeah, they actually wanted me to take them through a program on financial education. Mm-hmm. And they needed to know more of what happens when somebody finishes university, and most of them have been finishing and not getting far. And then they needed someone to open their eyes to understand what else is missing link within themselves, so that they would know what can make them, after finishing college, get out and be successful. Because it's not everybody who finishes college with flying colors, very good grades, not everybody who gets there. And they needed to hear that. So when I got to the studio, it was very interesting because they all wanted to know what happened to you. All of a sudden, they hear that, do you know Mbele? Do you know Mbele? This is a guy who came into the industry of multi-level marketing, and within 1 year, he was moving countries and he was moving masses, and everybody was looking. So having been into the personal development field for some time, I came across financial education, of course, with all those kind of information needed for everybody to know. And that is more than just going through formal education. We need to have knowledge more on how to achieve success. And then I was there telling them that after you finish college, you need to get into books which were written by people who came from nothing to something. And the material which is put there is what will change who you are. And in the book, it is said, what you think about most of your day ends up becoming you. Right. So there is something called thought. And that power of thought is what I wanted to make everybody understand. Because if they start imagining themselves being very powerful and successful within a period of 2-3 years after leaving college, then they start now impacting their minds with that kind of knowledge. They will never be the same people, because just being a professional alone, as a doctor, as an engineer, as a lawyer, it does not get you to where you wanted to be. And right. That's why we have cases with people who have succeeded and others not succeeded. So when I went to the university, my most important thing was to open their eyes. And then we were talking about how they're actually going to be starting a program where I'll be invited weekly to go and give a lecture. And I said, thank God, we could even have kind of change of curriculum where they would put up kind of a portion of their time to be spent during their final years, to be spent on making people understand how the world is. It is not as good as it is, because anybody who does not plan for the future, the world is very good for planning for you. And if the world is allowed to plan for anybody, it plans the worst. So we instead plan in advance and tell the world we know.
Extraordinary. Can you hear me all right?
Very well, yes.
Good, because I just heard just a little bit of a feedback on my side. I want to make sure that our connection was still good. Here we go. So I wanted to go through now in your process of you now being also basically a professor at university. You travel the world, you teach people, you give great insights, and you're also in an industry, also leading the industry, being a top leader. So, you know, in your life, did you ever believe once upon a time that you were going to be here being what I call a force multiplier, someone that has the ability to dramatically change the lives of not just a few people, but thousands and tens of thousands of people's lives?
To be very honest, it never occurred to me because in my first 20 years in my career, of course, as a chartered marketer, I was in employment where I traveled many countries even that time. Actually, I happen to have been very good in selling.
Mm-hmm.
And the companies I worked for would not allow me even go. So anything I requested for, I was given because they really wanted to retain me. And I traversed, I even went for trainings overseas. I have been given a lot of trainings. But I didn't see myself one time getting to the level of, being a speaker where I'm moving masses. And sometimes I would go to some airports and I would find people waiting for me, like a very senior person coming from another country. Then I would look at it and say, my God. Some policemen would have problem trying to control crowds. They've just come to meet somebody who comes very simple reading books. I would come carrying books, you see. And right. I say, I never thought, as you said, I never thought this would come one time. But I say, once you start planning for the future gives you way and opens bigger ways for you to do it. And actually, this is what I wanted to tell people. And that's why I really wanted to do a book. And now that I have it with me, this has opened to me doors for great things to help so many people, because people will have to believe. They know, many of them know, of course, where we came from. I mean, from childhood, they can tell that we are some of the people who used not to have enough school fees. And, every now and then you're being chased from school. And then having seen what has come without extra forces, because I didn't have those big names where you can cling, and then out of that, people will say you are who you are because Steve is your uncle. No, there was nobody like Steve.
Right.
So I'm really excited, and finally, that's how then the opportunity of authoring a book with the top publishers came up. And this, when it came, I'm telling you, I could not sleep. And I remember I went to sleep and I was waking up. Is it true that I'm going to? Because I thought 4 or 5 years from now, I was imagining I would want to put down my book. But believe you me, what is always said, once you plan for your future decides to open your way faster than you thought. And yes. That is exactly when I spoke to you. It happened, and I was like, oh my God, is this happening? I said, thank you, Lord.
Well, you have such an extraordinary way of speaking, and I think the most incredible thing that you do is you lead by example. And there's a lot of people that teach about success, but speaking from your heart like you do, as someone that has, like you mentioned on your website, jamesmbele.com, you mentioned that it is about being stubborn. And that, I believe the quote that you gave there, and you've got a lot of great quotes, by the way. I love it all the way through the press release that I've seen and the book itself and your website. You're talking about, today is tough, and guess what? Tomorrow's going to be tough too. And even the day after that may be worse. So you're not telling people the what I call smoke and mirrors, or the unicorns and pixie dust, that, hey, it's going to be okay, tomorrow is going to be fine. You're actually preparing people that you've got to be tough. You got to be stubborn. You got to stay on mission for your goal. And then how did you end it? Several days down the road, it will be sunshine. So tell me where you got that quote from. How did that become part of you?
Actually, it started with one person who gave me one of the quotes, and that is, tough times never last, but tough people do.
Sure.
And I took it deep in my heart, and I said, when things are looking very difficult, I should not give up. Why? Because it's only tough time which cannot last. And after it's over, I will be there.
Right.
I said, wow, this is going to be me. All my messages on my phones and everywhere, I must quote that we must be very consistent and never accept to give up hope.
Absolutely.
Never accept to give up hope.
Right.
I keep on telling people, somebody by the name of Martin Luther Jr., the King, you remember those days, he kept on saying, if you fall down, make sure that you don't remain there. Wake up and fly. If you can't fly, run. And if you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, make sure that you still fall down, but face forward. Never remain there.
Perfect. That's a great perspective. Again, you know, what you're sharing though is like nuggets of gold. Okay, because what you just gave there again is everybody just wants to fly. Everybody wants life to be easy. They want all the good things, but guess what? Life doesn't always serve that up to you right away, does it?
Yeah, I kept on telling people, and I always tell my audience wherever I coach that it's very normal to make mistakes.
Right.
It's very okay if you fail in a project you're doing. There's no problem failing, because failure itself is actually a process taking you to success. And if you fall down 7 times, make sure that you wake up 8 times to make sure that you remain still standing. Never
Right.
remain down.
But you know, that is such a perfect perspective. And again, what you're sharing is the perspective of successful people. And it is always about how you think, the perspective of, you know, like you said here, the perspective of falling down 7 times and getting up 8. That is being what I call truthful with people, because you're sharing with them what life truly is. Life is not always easy, right?
Sure. Very right. In fact, in one of the books I read in the beginning when I came into network marketing, and that was my first 5 months, and that was on the story of 7 secrets to 7 figures. And it actually mentioned something which is always in me and it will ever remain in me. That our brother had an issue of $30,000 in debt. And he was selling swimming pools in a time when it was very hot.
Sure.
And times when it would come to the evenings and there is nowhere to spend the night, and then he would be forced to have his car plug off something so that it would not start, and then spend a night in a petrol station because they would not push him out of there. And I looked at it and said, if somebody came out of this to become who he is, then human beings, I think we do mistakes by doing what? Giving up. We should never give up.
Never.
And the people I've met as I traverse the world, I've been to many countries. If I can talk about Africa, almost over 20 countries, then overseas, Asian countries, Europe. I've been to all those places. And
right.
Audiences, the people have met, I've told them one thing, and that is never accept to give up hope. And this world is full of people who made mistakes in their beginning, but
Yes.
they accepted to learn. And out of them accepting to learn, and they keep on making mistakes, failing in a business and waking up, those are the people controlling the world today. And if it has happened to them, then the people I'm coaching, I'm telling them not giving up, and we are going to do that. And that's when I kept on talking about books,
right.
about books. I know that one day I'll meet somebody called Steve Moller.
Well, it has been such a privilege of getting to know you. And the story you were just telling about is about a very good friend of mine that I have known for about 21 years or so. We go back. And you're recounting, I think, how he impacted your life when you were first coming into the network marketing industry. You mentioned the 7 secrets to 7 figures. That gentleman's name is Matt Morris. And
sure.
So tell us a little bit about how Matt has influenced your life. And in fact, Matt is the one that actually invited you to co-author with him in this book. And, you know, many people know him also as an international speaker. He's in the direct selling network marketing industry. He's been very successful. So how did Matt impact your life as you saw him early on as an individual that, you know, was in the worst possible place in life and then decided, like you, to be stubborn and not give up?
One very special thing I will never forget about what he said in his book, that first book, was that you can take him to any part of the world, any country, even in the North Pole. It doesn't matter where it is, whether weather conditions are not favorable to him or not. And deny him any of the contacts he had before. Make sure that he's literally having nothing with him, and just show him people to talk to and show him a market, and he will start from nothing. And within a period of few months, he would be a millionaire again. And I looked at it and said, my God, this is the kind of story I want, this is the information I want to hear.
Right.
That touched me. And actually, I wanted to experiment exactly what he said. One time, I remember way back in 2014, I wanted exactly to experiment, and I took a flight to a country where I knew nobody. And I wanted to see whether the experience now I had learned from, or what I had learned, would take me to where Matt was saying. I took a flight to a country called Malawi. And on the flight, I met people, one of the ladies who was reading a book like me, and I just sat next to her. Lucky enough, it was free sitting. So I sat next to her, and then she started looking at my book. I looked at her, and then I said, what are you doing? And then she talked about coming from South Africa, and she was connecting Nairobi so that she can go back to Malawi. And then she was in another network marketing company, but if I would introduce mine, she would not mind because I look like I'm very successful.
Sure.
And there we are. Landing Malawi, we were picked by the husband, and then within 2-3 days, I had a big team in Malawi. And I said,
wow, how extraordinary. There's the actual techniques and strategies and philosophy actually in real life. So you proved it to yourself. So did you ever think back in 2014 or even before that, when you were first reading Matt's books, did you ever imagine that you were actually going to be in a book invited by Matt to be one of the successful people that he is, taking your message and showcasing it to the world?
Actually, this world we live in is full of surprises. It's full of surprises. The reason I say this is, to me, Matt Morris was somebody in the United States of America, and somebody who was so eloquent in speaking, you know, when he talked about how to encounter objections in the market. I would listen and then wonder, how did this guy get to know all these things? I did not have any idea that one time I would come to be closer to Matt Morris, or we could even get together where he could invite me to co-author a book with him. I'm telling you, the world is so shocking. But one thing I've learned, and this is what we need to tell our people, especially listeners, is that if you do what is needed for you to do for success, the world opens doors for you, and everything becomes easy to access.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, one of the things I wanted to do, if I can real quick, is share my screen one more time. And I wanted to show off not only your website, but actually your book site as well as an author. So this is your website here, jamesmbele.com. And I love that. That is exactly, that's the gold wing Mercedes-Benz, I think, isn't it? It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. This is just an opening picture. You're showing people the type of lifestyle that they should aspire towards. Extraordinary. And I'm going to click over here real quick, because on your website, there is actually your section as author. And I love this quote of yours: success is about achieving your set goals and helping others to achieve theirs too. So what you're saying here is that you, in order to get what you want, you have to first help other people as a servant. Serve other people and help them. How does that fit in your life?
What I learned from the very successful people was that there is what you call traits of millionaires. And number one is to make sure that you can never succeed alone. For you to succeed, you must show others how to succeed. So anytime I've gone for any talk, The first thing I would like to say is that if you set your goals right and you work the strategies of achieving your goals, which must be minuted, they must be written, they must be measurable, quantified, they must be quantified.
Sure.
If you do all that, the chances are you're going to achieve your goals. And then I usually like giving my goals first so that the people can understand. Like my main goal, which I'm aiming and looking at right now, is, and I keep on saying it, is having a private jet. To do what? To traverse the world and open people's minds. I just want many people to benefit out of my talk. And I always tell people that when I thought of what I wanted to do, I had immediately to make sure that I coach and have a pilot within my family. My son is a pilot. Why? Because I wanted to have, I'm preparing for my goal.
I see that. Right. That's awesome. So you have somebody already in the family, so that way when you get the jet, you don't have to go look for the pilot. You're just, okay, we're going on a family trip. I just need you to pilot it. How awesome. So,
and my mission is to help a lot of people.
I noticed that when I'm looking down through here and seeing about, your background and stuff and talking about that, this was the quote that I actually had seen earlier, and I'm seeing it again. And I wanted to go down here to Mr. Silas. This is one of the individuals that endorsed and gave a testimony of you on your website. I believe he's also in your book. And this, to me, is a great example of who you are as a leader. Tell me about what happened with Mr. Silas.
Yeah, my friend Silas, I met him in Lagos, one of the towns you mentioned that you like to visit one time.
Sure.
And Lagos is the commercial city of Nigeria. So when I went to that city and I was introducing a new business, I met this guy when he was almost down to his knees, and he told me, Mbele, here I am, having done network marketing, but listening to the way you speak, I think if I work with you in a team, I'm going to survive again. He was almost throwing his towel because things were getting haywire. But within a very short period, this guy could not believe that he was flying from one town to another freely, because when I want to help, I help. I don't mind about spending. I will pay for you so that you can see what lifestyle you should lead. I want to put it in your mind that nothing is impossible. Everything is possible. And once you open somebody's mind to believe that it can be done, then you have helped that person. And from where he was, within a period of 2, 3, 4 months, he was up and in and running on his own, spending nights in 4, 5-star hotels. And flying, even when I'm not there, he would place a call. Hi, Mbele. I can't know what to tell you, but I've just landed another airport. I'm going to meet a crowd of people and I want to mention the business. And then I would say, my God, thank you. If I help this guy to move out of where he was and is where he is again. And when I told him that I'm doing a book, I want you to give a testimony about Mbele, you know me. Oh, he told me, Mbele, that is the first thing I would like to do, because I know what you can do and what you did for me.
Outstanding.
Many people all over Africa, all over the world, wherever I've gone. And it helped me to learn something called generosity. When you leave, whatever little you have, share it with others. Because when it starts coming back to you, it becomes multiplied many times. I wish people could understand that. It's the secret of remaining wealthy.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm, it's so great just to hear the concept of generosity, giving and serving, and look at how that has prospered your life. And so I know you have given a great amount of time here, and thank you for all the things that you have shared with me. I only have like one last question for you, and that is, tell me your vision of the future. Tell me your vision forward, because you have accomplished so many things. Like you said, you were thinking about how were you ever going to write a book, but you knew you wanted to write a book. Well, now you've done that. And I could see the expression early on in our interview. And now when you're able to, touch somebody's life by giving them a book so they can see what you have learned, you leave a legacy now. So what now is forward? What are your new goals? I know you want to get a jet, and I know you already have the son that can fly the jet for you. That's great. What is the vision? What are you seeing in your mind?
What I plan to do by God's grace, because it's what I have in mind for the next 2, 3, 4 years, I want to start personal development classes, which I can actually do in every major town in every country. I would open a place, an institution where I would be flying in to go and give lectures. And I would like to create leaders within every country so that they can do what I can do. Even some of them do better than I can do. Why am I saying this? Because this world is for people who know how to delegate. If you delegate, you create a multitude of leaders. That is the best way to succeed.
Yes.
But not doing it on my own throughout. No, I would like to delegate. I would like to leverage and show them how to leverage so that we can help a bigger majority of people to start accessing what they never thought they could access. And I'm looking at that happening because I never give up. Falling 7 times, I must wake up 8 times.
Awesome. Well, how extraordinary. I love the vision. Thank you for the time that you have shared with us. I wish you so much success. Very exciting just to spend a few minutes with you, and I'm privileged to have the chance to call you my friend and to spend time with you and get to know you even better, and just to keep following you and to see your success. How extraordinary. So thank you for giving us time, making this connection with us. And I wish you all the best in the future. And at a point in the future, I'd love to come back and check and see how much farther you've moved along and how things have done. Maybe we'll make another interview like this very soon.
I'm so grateful for what you've done and having taken your time to come and interview me. I'm very, very grateful. And I can promise we are going to do our best to make sure that we change the world. My mission is to leave a legacy of people looking at themselves and never judging their future with what happened in the past. Because if they look at who they were and they continue on thinking about where they did and what they did when they were failing, they will never become anything. Focus the future and look at the future as the brightest ever, and we'll get there.
Outstanding. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. How awesome. Great way to finish an extraordinary interview is with an extraordinary vision of the future. So thank you, my friend. I appreciate your time, and I wish you all the best. Have a great evening there.
Thank you too.